will begin the discussion of statistics and statistical analysis in management research in a bit of an odd place. Before we move to statistics, we'll clarify what is meant by constructs and variables, and we'll consider the different types of variables. We will begin by looking at the differences between constructs, concepts, and variables. To understand statistics, you first need to understand the distinction between concepts, constructs, and variables. To illustrate these differences, I am using here an example of my own research, taken from a journal article published in Journal of Business Research. The example shows a theoretical model which includes 8 concepts linked through research hypotheses. The term concept belongs to the domain of theory, and concepts are abstract theoretical entities that are found in theoretical models. This theoretical model includes, amongst others, the concept of satisfaction. The word concept is typically found in the conceptual chapters of your dissertation and the discussion of your findings. Once you move to methodology, the word concept is replaced by either variable or a construct. Variables are measurable and they can numerically capture the abstract concepts. Variables can be identified or observed, and they assume different values that correspond to the unobserved concept. Here is an example of variables that are used in my article to capture the construct of satisfaction. In this case, satisfaction was measured with 4 variables, marked here as V1 to V4, and each of those variables was a Likert type statement where we asked respondents to rate the statement from 1 to 5, strongly disagree, strongly agree. Sometimes a concept may be represented by just one variable, or to use measurement terminology, one indicator. For example, firm performance may be captured by the volume of sales, or innovation may be captured by the number of patents a firm may hold. More often than not, in management research you will find that concepts are represented by multiple variables. Multiple variables are used to measure concepts with greater precision. For example, in the example provided, the concept of satisfaction is measured with 4 indicator variables. Have a look here at those different variables. Incidentally, variables and constructs are typically found in the section of methodology referred to as measurement. Here is a piece of that section taken from my published article. You can find the article on Moodle, but for the purpose of this discussion, please note that the satisfaction is here at the bottom and the 4 statements are written down. Incidentally, variables and constructs are typically found in the section of methodology referred to as measurement. Here is an example of such section taken from the published version of my article. You can find the complete article on Moodle. Please note how the satisfaction as one of the concepts appears in published research. The example shows that the same thing, in our case satisfaction, can be referred to using different terms belonging to 3 different sets of terminologies. The distinction between concept, construct, and variable relates to 3 different types of terminology or language that you will use in your thesis. In the conceptual language of theory, satisfaction is a concept that appears in your theoretical model. The empirical measurement of that concept or its operationalization marks the move from theory to data collection and analysis, and in the language of empirical measurement, satisfaction is a construct. It is a construct because when operationalized, the concept of satisfaction is nominally constructed of a number of variables, in my instance 4 variables. Constructs may be also referred to as latent or unobserved constructs or variables because they are not measured directly but rather come about through joint influence of multiple variables. Finally, in the mathematical language of data analysis, satisfaction will be referred to as variable. All techniques of data analysis and the associated software, including multivariate data analysis and SPSS, operate in the language of analysis and use the term variables. There are different types of variables, and from the point of view of data analysis, it is important to distinguish between independent, dependent, moderating, and mediating variables. Imagine that we are trying to examine a relationship between motivation and performance, where motivation captures the amount of effort and performance may capture some accomplishment or outcome. And imagine that we are interested in the relationship between amount of time spent studying and exam performance in students. The independent variable is presumed to cause a change in another variable. Dependent variable is the one that changes because of the independent variable, or is the outcome on the presumed effect of independent variable. For example, in our example, we would argue that amount of studying time, the independent variable, affects performance, the dependent variable, and that the relationship is positive, we would hope. The amount of time spent studying is our independent variable, and the grade is our dependent variable. Mediating variables intervene between the independent and dependent variables. For example, your learning skills or study skills may mediate the relationship between time and exam outcome. What does it mean they mediate? If we give all students the same amount of time to learn, students with better learning skills typically have higher exam performance. For example, postgraduates perform better than undergraduates, and students at level 4 perform better than students at level 1. Finally, moderating variable is one that fundamentally changes the relationship between two related variables. Importantly, moderators are not at all related to independent variables, and that lack of relationship is the key difference between moderator and the mediating variable. In this example, age moderates exam performance. Given the same amount of time, exam performance may be different for young learners compared to the very old learners. In this instance, age would be a moderator variable. It is a moderator also because motivation in no way affects age, and similarly, age in no way directly affects performance.